So the first weekend of the Wisdom of Sea and Sky is over, and we're going to take a look at what are some of the best performing tournament decks of the weekend. So if you're looking to climb ranked or just want to play in some tournaments, hopefully this will give you some good ideas about what to take. Hey, I'm Andy, I make videos about the competitive scene in Pokemon TCG Pocket. If you enjoyed the video, maybe give it a like, maybe a cheeky sub, and let's get into it. So before we start looking at individual decks, probably my main takeaway from the meta this weekend is that things are a lot more diverse than they have been in the past. Because usually what would happen is the new hotness comes out and you would just see nothing but, you know, used to be one deck that was like the best, the quote-unquote best deck of the moment, and that was just played by everybody. However, it seems now that the kind of meta at the moment is anything that was good in the previous meta is still pretty good. So for example, Sylveon Greninja, EV Box, Buzzwole, Guzzlord, everything's still good, and then we've also included a lot of the newer stuff coming in, like for example Espeon EX. At least this set, the power creep doesn't seem to have been big enough to sort of properly dethrone the current best decks. Also, despite the initial hype, like Crobat EX is not done as well as I think people were expecting. So let's start off with one of the weirder decks to come out of the weekend, and that is rather than Ho-Ho Lugia, we've seen this Ho-Ho, Snorlax, Giratina, Magby, Kamala deck turn up. So instead of just relying on Lugia, you've got Giratina, which can also just build up in the background, because with Ho-Oh, if you're building it up in the active slot, it's going to take a little bit of time even if you're ramping it with Magby. So you've got enough time to just build up the Giratina in the background as well. And then Ho-Oh, as well as doing 80 damage itself, it can also just pass stuff over to the Snorlax for 130 damage there. And then you've got Ilima and Lyra to pull back Snorlax or one of your other big EXs if they take damage. It's a wild combination of different Pokemon. So I said previously that, you know, good decks stayed good. Darkrai Giratina is no different. I think people are slipping in Silver now these days, but other than that, it's still like posting great results in tournaments. I think it won Ursa Day this weekend. It won a few others as well. But what's it going to take to dethrone this? However, one of the biggest surprises was, again, myself included, we all were a bit down on Espeon EX, and it's turned out to be really good. This was the second place in the Ursa Day, so you're running double Sylveon EX, double Espeon EX, and you've got regular Sylveon, regular Espeon. So you've got your quad EVs as well. So obviously Sylveon X gives you a crazy amount of draw. You've then got the Espeon X. So I think I undervalued the healing, because not only, so it heals 30, so it's like a pseudo Pokemon Center Lady, but if you've got two of these and you've got the ability to cycle them into the active slot, you can heal 60 altogether, and you can target where the heal goes. Also, you've got regular Sylveon with Evo Harmony, so this is good because you want to be able to flip this out, so if your opponent plays Oricorio and tries to wall your EXs, you can come out and one-shot it with this. And then also for the decks that use a lot of energy as well. I mean, for example, we looked at that Ho-Ho Giratina deck, so you've got Ho-Ho's ramping, Giratina's ramping at the same time, so Energy Crush gets a lot of value out of that. You know, despite being initially underrated, this seems to be one of the better decks coming out of the set. Okay, third and fourth in the Ursa Day were sort of variants on Silvally Electric. So we've got Silvally, Zeraza, or Oricorio. Again, good decks stay good. I'm surprised they didn't use Energy Switch instead of Dawn, because Elemental Switch, because that just seems to be a better choice. So you don't have to like worry about stopping you playing other supporters. Oh no, of course. I guess the main reason would be because you're running Silvally, so you want more supporters rather than items. And like a lot of old decks coming into new meta is, everyone's running one copy of Silver because it's really annoying. So Buzzwole is having a real good time in the current meta. I think that's probably pushing out a lot of the Don fans, because the Don fan EX decks seem to be good, but also Buzzwole does cause you a lot of problems. And again, this is just like, they've ditched something, probably I think a red card in this case, or maybe another leaf cape, just to put in a copy of Silver. So we do have Ho-Ho Lugia deck making third place at the Zatumi Econ Cup. So this is Pichu and Magby sending energy to the Ho-Ho, which then powers Lugia as well. Then Oricorio to protect against other big EXs, and you're going for the big sweep with Elemental Blast from Lugia. And as expected, we've got a Lyra in this. We can only assume they are running full water energy, because they've got the Illida there, and then Lyra is giving you the ability to switch out the Ho-Oh for free when you want to switch on Lugia. So Guzzlord also making top cuts over the weekend. So again, we got the double Naganadel, double Guzzlord, double Nihilego with 1 copy of Celesteela. I think this is pretty much unchanged from the double Naganadel that we had last meta. So just to briefly talk about Charizard, so this was from 16th place in the Earth Day tournament. However, this weekend Charizard seems to not crop up as much from what I've seen. And specifically Solgaleo has also just evaporated. So if you look at a lot of the results, you don't really see these two, like stage 2, kind of what were previously very powerful decks, just seem to have gone a bit quiet this week. So I don't know if it's going to be a continuing thing, but maybe the reliability of all the EV stage 1s, and also like Donphan stage 1, or like everything else is like a basic EX deck. It could be that the reliability of those decks is just edging out things like Charizard and Solgaleo. Another card from the set that hasn't really been performing so well. It's been making some top cuts, but not really being able to go all the way. However, this deck did make it to the top 32 of the Earth Day tournament, so it's double EX Skarmory, single Skarmory, double Jasmine, of course, because you need that to basically reduce the damage on the Skarmory. 1 copy of Adaman, which seems unusual, but then it's like almost like a budget version of Jasmine. It works on the regular Skarmory, and combined with Steel Apron, it can help reduce a lot of initial chip damage. So Crobat has been making appearances though. This is 11th place from the Frog EX Weekly. We've got double Crobat, double Sylveon, and then Darkrai EX. Pretty much standard thing. I think the main things, I think one thing that's come out of the early games with Crobat is that you need the Cape and possibly Lily as well. A, to beat the mirror match, and also even with 170 HP, like that's decent, but you really need the like healing of some description just to keep this in the game. So that's a look at some of the better performing decks in the meta right now. What do you think of the current meta? Did you play at the weekend? Anything been performing well for you or not? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, maybe give it a like, maybe check your subscribe, and I'll see you later, yeah?